Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. The most dangerous man is the one who observes in silence and moves when no one is watching. Most people assume danger comes from the loud, the aggressive, or the ones constantly seeking attention, but history proves otherwise. The real threats are the ones you never see coming, the men who blend in, who reveal nothing, who move with precision while everyone else is busy posturing. Here's a chilling fact. Some of the most powerful figures in history were not the loudest in the room, but the most unpredictable. The ones who didn't care for titles, didn't seek approval, and never needed a following to command influence. Sounds familiar? That's because Sigma males operate the same way. They don't challenge power, they sidestep it. They don't start wars, they end them without lifting a finger. They don't chase recognition, yet people are obsessed with figuring them out. And that's what makes them far more dangerous than anyone realizes. So before you assume that the quiet, detached man in the corner is just keeping to himself, you might want to ask yourself, is he watching, calculating, and already 3 steps ahead? At number 1, they can become your best friend or your worst nightmare. A Sigma male doesn't form connections the way most people do. He doesn't bond over surface-level emotions, blind loyalty, or meaningless social rules. Every relationship he allows into his life serves a purpose, whether it's for knowledge, growth, protection, or strategic advantage. This doesn't mean he lacks emotions or that he's incapable of friendship. But it does mean one thing: he never lets emotions make his decisions for him. When he chooses to be someone's friend, he fully commits. He listens in a way that makes people feel deeply understood, offers advice that shifts perspectives, and stands by his allies in a way that's almost unshakable. He knows how to read people better than they read themselves, so he adapts to what they need, making them feel like they've found someone rare, someone who truly gets them. This is why Sigmas can be irreplaceable in people's lives. They don't just show up. They become a force of stability, an insight that most people never experience. But that's only one side of the coin. The moment someone becomes a liability, things shift in a way that's almost unsettling. There's no outburst, no emotional fallout, just distance. One day everything feels normal, and the next it's as if the connection never existed. They don't do this out of pettiness or spite. They do it because they live by one unbreakable rule: if you threaten my peace, you no longer belong in my world. And the eerie part, there's never a warning. Sigmas don't waste time with ultimatums or second chances. They simply erase their presence from someone's life, leaving them confused, unsettled, and questioning whether the bond was ever real to begin with. It's not that they were being fake. It's that their loyalty was always conditional, based on mutual value and respect. The second that equation stops working, the connection gets deleted like an old file on a computer. For those who understand this about them, being their friend is a privilege. For those who take them for granted, it's a lesson in what it feels like to lose something you can never replace. Number 2, they can reprogram their personality at will. A Sigma male doesn't just adapt. He reinvents himself whenever necessary. Most people struggle with change because they're too attached to their identity, their habits, or the way they've always been. A Sigma. He sees himself like a piece of software, something that can be upgraded, rewritten, or even erased if it no longer serves him. If being soft and approachable benefits him, he leans into it. If the situation demands cold detachment, he shuts down all unnecessary emotions like flipping a switch. This ability isn't about faking it or pretending to be someone he's not. It's deeper than that. He doesn't just act charming, ruthless, or magnetic. He becomes it. He understands that personality isn't some rigid, unchangeable thing. It's fluid, a tool that should be shaped and refined depending on the situation. While most people are stuck in the mindset of, this is just who I am, a Sigma male is busy crafting himself into who he needs to be. If he's in a room full of powerful people and needs to command attention, he'll dial up his presence and social intelligence, making himself impossible to ignore. If he needs to disappear and observe from the shadows, he can turn down his energy to the point where he's nearly invisible. There is no fixed version of him, only the one that fits the moment best. What makes this even more unsettling for others is that there's no emotional resistance in him when it's time to change. If he realizes a certain way of thinking, behaving, or reacting is holding him back, he doesn't struggle with it, he simply deletes it. He doesn't mourn the loss of old versions of himself because to him, clinging to an outdated identity is nothing more than dead weight. This is what makes Sigmas so unpredictable. You can't put them in a box, you can't define them, and you definitely can't manipulate them. The moment someone thinks they've figured him out, he's already rewired himself into something else, and that's why you'll never quite know which version of him you're dealing with. Number 3, they don't just predict people's behavior, they shape it. A Sigma male isn't just observant, he's 10 steps ahead before anyone even takes their first step. Most people walk through life reacting to situations as they come, assuming events unfold naturally. A Sigma knows better. He doesn't just watch people's behavior, he anticipates it, molds it, and when necessary, manipulates it into exactly what he needs it to be. He understands that human behavior is predictable when you know what drives it. Ego, fear, validation, insecurity. Most people are controlled by the same forces whether they realize it or not. While others are lost in their emotions, reacting impulsively, a Sigma is already engineering the outcome. He sees the chain reaction before it starts, subtly nudging events in his favor without ever making it obvious. He doesn't control people in the way a tyrant would. He doesn't need to. Instead, he sets the stage so that people walk right into the choices he wants them to make, believing it was their own decision all along. A slight shift in tone, a well-placed silence, an offhand comment at just the right moment, small moves that steer the entire direction of an interaction without anyone realizing they were ever being guided. This is what makes him so dangerous. While others argue, overreact, or wear their intentions on their sleeves, he remains calm, unreadable, and perfectly positioned. He doesn't get caught up in power struggles because he orchestrates them from the background. He doesn't need to shout to be heard. He simply makes sure the right person whispers in the right ear at the right time. By the time someone realizes what's happening, it's too late. They weren't just playing his game, they were playing by rules he wrote before they even knew the game existed. And that's why underestimating a Sigma male is the first step toward doing exactly what he wanted you to do all along. Number 4. They never let people see their final form. A Sigma male is like a moving target. Just when you think you've figured him out, he becomes someone else entirely. He's not pretending, and he's definitely not indecisive. His evolution is deliberate, a constant refining of who he is, based on what the moment demands. Most people are predictable because they find comfort in familiarity. They settle into a version of themselves and never question it. A Sigma doesn't have that limitation. He treats life like a game where the rules are always changing, and he makes sure he's always ahead of the curve. This is why no one can pin him down. Labels don't stick, expectations don't apply, and assumptions only lead to confusion. One day he's charming and magnetic, drawing people in like gravity itself. The next, he's distant and unreadable, slipping away without a trace. He can be ruthless when necessary, calculating when it benefits him, and completely indifferent when a situation no longer serves his interests. But no one, not friends, not enemies, not even lovers, will ever see the full extent of who he is. And that's what makes him so unsettling. People crave certainty. They want to know what to expect from someone, to feel like they can predict their actions. But a Sigma male refuses to be predictable. The second someone thinks they've mapped him out, he shifts, leaving them chasing a shadow of who he used to be. He upgrades himself constantly, discarding outdated traits like old software, refining his strengths, eliminating weaknesses and mastering new skills without ever announcing it. This unpredictability isn't just a defense mechanism, it's a power move. It keeps people off balance, never quite sure which version of him they're dealing with. And because of that, they're always a step behind. By the time someone thinks they finally understand him, they're already dealing with someone he used to be, not the version of him that exists now. The truth is, there is no final form, because the moment he stops evolving, he stops being a Sigma. And that will never happen. Number 5, they never seek revenge because indifference is a stronger punishment. A Sigma male understands something most people never do. Revenge is a waste of energy. The moment you react to someone's betrayal, insult, or attack, you've already lost. You've acknowledged them. You've given them proof that they mattered enough to get a response. And that's exactly what they wanted. But a Sigma, he denies them that satisfaction completely. When someone crosses him, they expect anger. They expect retaliation, a fight, or at the very least an emotional reaction. Instead, they get the one thing humans fear the most: complete irrelevance. No outburst, no confrontation, no dramatic payback, just an eerie, effortless disappearance. One day they're in his world, and the next it's as if they never existed. And that's what makes it devastating. People crave acknowledgement, even in conflict. They need to know they had an impact, even if it's a negative one. But when a Sigma acts like they never mattered, it eats at them. The silence is louder than any argument. The lack of reaction is heavier than any form of revenge. They start questioning themselves. Did he ever care? Did he even notice? Was I ever important to him at all? The doubt alone is enough to unravel most people. This isn't passive aggressiveness. It's not a game. It's cold, calculated detachment. A Sigma doesn't carry grudges because that would mean carrying emotional baggage, something he refuses to do. Instead, he makes one simple decision. You are no longer part of my reality, and once he decides that, there's no going back, no second chances, no explanations, no closure. And here's the real kicker. While they're obsessing over why he doesn't care, he's already moved on, not thinking about them, not plotting against them, just continuing his life as if they never existed. Because in his mind, they don't. And that, more than anything, is what truly destroys them. Number 6, they can live a double life without anyone knowing. A Sigma male is a walking enigma, not because he tries to be mysterious, but because he instinctively keeps his world compartmentalized. The version of him that people see is carefully selected, but it's never the full picture. Most people have a single cohesive identity. They are who they are, no matter where they go. A Sigma, he has layers, and most people will only ever scratch the surface. He can operate in entirely different circles, lead multiple lives, and exist in spaces that would never intersect. Because he designs it that way. His family knows one side of him. His colleagues see another. His close friends might think they've unlocked a deeper version. But even they are only getting a curated experience. And then there's the part of him that no one, not a single soul, will ever see. This isn't deception, it's control. A Sigma doesn't believe in putting all his cards on the table. Why? Because information is power, and power is never meant to be freely given. He watches as people overshare, expose their vulnerabilities, and hand over personal details without a second thought. Meanwhile, he remains unreadable, revealing only what is necessary, just enough to blend in, never enough to be truly known. This ability to live multiple lives makes him impossible to pin down. He could be deeply involved in a project, a movement, or an underground network that no one would ever suspect. His interests, ambitions, and side ventures could be operating in a completely different world, away from the eyes of those who think they understand him. Some may see him as a quiet professional, while elsewhere he might be a strategist, an entrepreneur, or someone moving pieces behind the scenes with absolute anonymity. And that's what makes him so unpredictable. Just when someone thinks they figured him out, they realize they only knew a fragment of who he truly is. Because at the end of the day, no one, not friends, not family, not even lovers, will ever see the entire Sigma. And he prefers it that way. Number 7, they never get attached to people, only experiences. A Sigma male moves through life untethered, not because he's incapable of forming bonds, but because he sees them for what they truly are. Temporary. People come and go. Feelings shift, loyalties fade. And while most cling to relationships as a source of meaning, a Sigma has already accepted the inevitability of change. He doesn't attach himself to people, he attaches himself to what they bring into his life. It's not love, friendship, or loyalty that truly captivates him. It's the experience of it, the conversations that challenge his mind, the adventures that alter his perspective, the emotions that add depth to his existence. Those moments, they stay with him forever, the person who provided them. Not necessarily. This is why he never mourns lost relationships the way others do. He never truly lost anything. The person may be gone, but the knowledge, the lessons, and the sensations remain etched into his psyche. This detachment doesn't mean he's cold or incapable of caring. He can be deeply present, passionate, and even affectionate, but always with the awareness that nothing is permanent. Unlike others who suffer from the illusion of forever, a Sigma walks into every connection knowing it has an expiration date. He enjoys it while it lasts, absorbs what it offers, and when it ends, he lets it go without resistance. This mindset is why he doesn't chase, beg, or dwell on the past. If someone chooses to leave, he won't stop them. If a connection fades, he won't try to rekindle it. And if a person betrays him, he won't waste time seeking revenge. He simply moves on, carrying only the experience, never the attachment. To outsiders, this makes him seem heartless, but in reality, it frees him. While others drown in nostalgia, regret, or resentment, he remains light, unburdened, and completely in control of his emotional world. Because at the end of the day, people are just passing through. But the experiences, the wisdom, the moments that shaped him, those are his forever. Number 8, they make loyalty look like an illusion. A Sigma male understands something most people refuse to accept. Loyalty is conditional. Society romanticizes the idea of undying allegiance, of standing by someone no matter what. But to a Sigma, that's nothing more than blind servitude masquerading as virtue. He doesn't hand out loyalty like a free sample. It has to be earned, tested, and proven again and again. Most people assume that once they have a Sigma's trust, it's permanent. Wrong. Loyalty isn't a lifetime contract. It's a subscription that can be cancelled at any time. The moment someone becomes a liability, betrays his trust, or proves they can't hold their weight, his loyalty doesn't just fade. It vanishes without a trace. One second he's in your corner. The next, it's as if he was never there. No warnings, no dramatic goodbyes, just pure detachment. This is what makes him so unpredictable. People are used to conditional loyalty, but only in small doses. They expect forgiveness, second chances, or at the very least an explanation. A Sigma gives none of that. He doesn't do sentimental loyalty, he does strategic loyalty. If someone continuously proves themselves to be reliable, competent, and worthy of his time, he will stand by them through fire and chaos. But the second they start dragging him down, he's gone. It's not that he's disloyal, it's that most people misunderstand what real loyalty means. To him, it's mutual benefit, not blind devotion. If someone expects unwavering loyalty without offering the same level of value, they're living in a fantasy. A Sigma doesn't stay out of obligation. He stays because it makes sense. And here's the part that really stings. When he leaves, he doesn't look back. No guilt, no second guessing, no regret. The people who once felt secure in his presence suddenly realize they never actually had him, only the illusion of him. That's why losing his loyalty feels like losing something that was never truly there in the first place, because in the end, it wasn't. Number 9, they don't fear failure because they can rebuild themselves infinitely. A Sigma male doesn't fear failure because failure is nothing more than a checkpoint in his evolution. Most people avoid risk because they're terrified of losing what they have. They cling to stability, reputation, and comfort, paralyzed by the thought of having to start over. But a Sigma, he's already been stripped down to nothing before, and he survived. In fact, he didn't just survive, he rebuilt himself into something even stronger. Loss doesn't intimidate him, he's lost before. Rejection doesn't faze him, he's been dismissed before. Rock bottom isn't a nightmare, it's a training ground. When life knocks him down, he doesn't sit there whining about it. He gets back up, recalculates, and comes back sharper, smarter, and more dangerous than before. That's why setbacks don't break him, they refine him. Most people fear failure because they believe it's permanent. A Sigma knows better. He treats himself like a system, not a fixed identity. If something in his life isn't working, he doesn't cling to it. He deconstructs, analyzes, and reinvents. He can shift careers, abandon old beliefs, or rebuild his entire lifestyle without hesitation because he never confuses his circumstances with his capabilities. This is what makes him so dangerous. His resilience isn't just mental, it's tactical. He doesn't hope things will get better. He strategizes his way out of every downfall. He studies failure like a scientist, treating every setback as data to refine his next move. And when he rises again, he's no longer the same person who fell. That version of him is dead, replaced by someone smarter, colder, and infinitely more capable. While others crumble under loss, he thrives in it. Take everything from him and he'll build something better. Knock him down and he'll come back untouchable. Because at the core of who he is, there's one unshakable truth. He doesn't need anything to stay the same in order to win. He only needs one thing, his ability to adapt. And that's something no one can take from him. Number 10, they are immune to the world's biggest addiction, attention. A Sigma male is completely immune to the world's most addictive drug, attention. While everyone else is chasing validation, likes, and applause, he moves through life like a ghost in a world full of performers. People crave recognition because they think it gives them power. A Sigma knows better. True power isn't in being noticed. It's in being a mystery no one can figure out. Most people are predictable. They broadcast their thoughts, flex their achievements, and desperately seek acknowledgement for every little thing they do. They don't just want to be seen, they need to be seen. But a Sigma? He moves in silence. He doesn't need applause to confirm his worth. He doesn't need an audience to feel successful. And most importantly, he doesn't need permission to be great. While others waste energy proving themselves, he focuses on actually becoming formidable. This is why people can't figure him out. He doesn't follow the script. He could be highly skilled, incredibly intelligent, or dangerously influential, and no one would even know, because he doesn't feel the need to announce it. He lets his actions speak, and when they do, they hit harder than any self-promotion ever could. His absence makes more noise than other people's presence. And that's what truly unsettles people about him. They can't read him, they can't predict his next move, and most frustrating of all, they can't control him. Attention seekers are easy to manipulate because they depend on public approval. A Sigma, he couldn't care less. Praise doesn't boost his ego, and criticism doesn't shake his confidence. He's untouchable because he operates outside the game that everyone else is playing. This is what makes him so dangerous in a world addicted to being seen. He doesn't need to be on stage to run the show. He doesn't need recognition to be influential. And he doesn't need admiration to feel powerful. While everyone else is exhausting themselves trying to be somebody, he quietly becomes unstoppable. Number 11, they don't chase success, they make success come to them. A Sigma male doesn't waste his energy chasing success, he makes success chase him. While everyone else is running in circles, desperate to climb the next rung of the ladder, he builds his own system where the ladder doesn't even matter. He understands a simple but brutal truth. The world doesn't reward effort, it rewards value. And instead of chasing recognition, he becomes so undeniably valuable that opportunities come looking for him. Most people grind endlessly, thinking that if they just push harder, they'll finally make it. A Sigma knows better. He doesn't waste time begging, impressing, or seeking approval. He creates something so rare, so powerful, that success has no choice but to find him. He doesn't knock on doors. He builds doors others want to walk through. This is why he never plays the rat race. The system is designed to keep people running, always chasing the next goal, always feeling like they're one step behind. A Sigma steps off the treadmill entirely. He doesn't follow trends, he sets them. He doesn't network out of desperation. People seek him out because they recognize his value. And here's the part that really sets him apart. He never settles. The moment he reaches a certain level, he doesn't get comfortable. He reinvents himself, refines his skills, and levels up again. That's why success doesn't just find him once, it keeps coming back again and again. While others exhaust themselves chasing after every opportunity, a Sigma sits back and lets the right ones compete for his attention. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how hard you chase, it's about how powerfully you attract. A Sigma male isn't dangerous because he's loud, aggressive, or attention-seeking. He's dangerous because you'll never see him coming. While others crave validation, he operates in the shadows, calculating his every move with precision. He isn't bound by emotions, attachments, or the expectations of the world. He rewrites the rules as he sees fit. He doesn't fear loss because he can rebuild himself infinitely. He doesn't seek revenge because indifference is a stronger punishment. He doesn't chase power because true power is in being untouchable. He's not reckless, he's strategic. He's not cold, he's selective. And he's not just playing the game, he's designing it. This is what makes him so unsettling. You can't predict him, you can't control him. And just when you think you've figured him out, he evolves again. By the time the world notices his presence, he's already 10 steps ahead, orchestrating outcomes long before anyone realizes they were even a possibility. In the end, a Sigma male doesn't need to prove his power, he embodies it. He is the storm that no one sees coming, the force that no one can contain, and the enigma that no one can solve. While others burn themselves out trying to be seen, he builds his empire in silence. And when he finally makes a move, it's already too late for everyone else. If this breakdown of the Sigma male mindset shook your perspective, then you're exactly the kind of person who belongs here. This channel isn't for the ordinary. It's for those who think differently, move strategically, and refuse to be predictable. So if you want more content that challenges the norm, reveals the unseen, and keeps you thinking long after the video ends, hit that subscribe button. Like the video to show you're one of the few who truly gets it. Drop a comment with your thoughts, because let's be real, this topic deserves a discussion. And share this with someone who needs to understand the game on a whole new level. This isn't just another channel. This is where the untold truths live. Stay sharp, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now and see you in the next video.